Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. So I know a while back I had mentioned that I would be putting up videos in regards to my journey through the OTA program that I'm in, and I haven't done that. I actually later decided to wait until I was towards the end of the program, so that way I would have more insight and I wouldn't just be giving you guys partial information, or if anyone asked any questions, I wouldn't have answers because I hadn't gotten that far into the program. Um, so that was what I decided to do. Originally, what I was going to do was each semester put up videos regarding whatever the curriculum was at that point. But I just decided, every program's different, and they may not have done different schools may not have done it the way our program did it. So I just wanted to wait until the end. So now I am in my last semester of classes. I have my level 2 clinical rotations left to go, and then I'll be done. So I am in the midst of this whole quarantine, so I figured I have time to record some videos for you guys. And being that, like I said, I'm at the end of the program, I can kind of get everything out there now before I start my level 2s and get like crazy busy again. And then after that, I can actually put out videos just regarding level 2s and my experience there. So far our semesters have been, we had our intro. We had A and K, which is anatomy and kinesiology. We had our physical dysfunction, mental health, geriatrics, and now we're in pediatrics. And I feel like I'm missing something. No, I think that's it. But it wasn't in that order, obviously. But that those are the semesters that we had, and along with each semester, we had a level 1 rotation, clinical rotation, to go on as well. For me, my rotations were kind of, I don't want to say easy, but it was more so a little bit more laid back, just because I was extremely pregnant. And I kind of been pregnant this whole program because when I got started, I was pregnant as well. But that's a whole nother video. But I just wanted to kind of share with you guys my OT story, or OTA story. Originally, I had wanted to be an occupational therapist. I had planned to go to grad school, but I wasn't really well educated on the process and what to do and everything. Coming out of undergrad, no one had told me what I needed to do. So that first year, I missed the application deadline just because I didn't know how it was. I thought it was just like, when you applied to undergrad, you just went on, did an application, and you were done. Um, oh. So that was my understanding of it. And when I found out that wasn't the case, I was just like, oh, okay, so I'm not ready for this. So after that first year, I actually ended up coming back to Orlando from Tallahassee, and I got a job, and I worked that job for a year. And the plan was, I've got the babies right here in front of me. The plan was to, make some money so that way I'd have the funds to do whatever I needed to do to apply to whatever schools I wanted to apply to. At that point, I had in my head that I was either going to go back to Tallahassee or I was going to Texas, but I wasn't sure, or Miami. Those were my three places I was going to go, just because as far as the living situation, it made sense. I knew a place in Tallahassee where I could get an apartment easy, no problem. And it was basically the same place we were living at before. Texas, I have family in Texas. I have family in Miami. So it just was going to work out that I wouldn't have to be paying for a place to live. So those were my plans. After that first year, and I was working, I got a job, like I said. And then my now husband and I got an apartment. And in doing that, we ended up getting engaged, and we were planning our wedding. And again, now that I had knew, the requirements for graduation, I started like preparing for that as well as planning the wedding. I ended up having to take the GRE, and I had to prep for that. So that pushed me back even more because I just wanted to make sure that I was fully focused. So then now we're at 2 years out of school. We ended up buying a house. So at that point, I was just like, okay, so I'm not going to Texas. I'm not going to Miami. I'm not going to Tallahassee. I need to figure something out. Now that we bought this house and we, are here. Hold on. What's wrong? You want to come in the video with Mama? Okay. Ugh. Bless you. Uh-oh. So, I forgot where I was at just that fast. Mommy brain. Oh, so that were 2 years, and so I went ahead and I looked at schools here. I actually contemplated changing my major. I ended up doing some observation hours at a clinic here that I actually fell in love with. And then I ended up getting a job. Well, it was a temporary job, but at a school for kids with special needs. So after working there, the plan was to go ahead and get my certificate in conductive education and take on a position there that next coming school year. So as I prepared for that, they had a lot of kids drop out that year. And when they dropped out, of course, the tuition and all of that, they lost funds. So they weren't able to take me on. So at that point, I had just started looking at the school I'm at now. And I started emailing, back and forth saying that, ultimately I wanted to get my master's, but that wasn't working out. So I just wanted to get the conductive ed. And then they asked me, why don't you try OTA? And I was just like, no, I don't really want to. I have a bachelor's degree. And in my head, that was me going backwards. So I was just like, I kept telling myself, you don't want to go backwards. You want to go forward. If you can't go forward, don't do it. So I kept getting emails from the admissions there. And I was just like, all right, fine. I went to open house and everything seemed cool. And I was just like, you know what? I like the environment. Maybe I'll just try the master's. So then I started emailing and I wasn't competitive enough for the master's program. So I was just like, okay, so my only choice is to either do the conductive education or do this OTA program. And I kept saying, I really don't want to go backwards. And my husband was like, you got to get out of that mindset because right now that's not the case. And it doesn't make sense for you to keep saying that. Okay, I had to readjust. So my husband was like, you need to get out of that mindset. It's not going backwards. It's just a different route. So I decided to go ahead and apply. I prayed on it first. And I was like, Lord, if this is for me, let the doors open. Let it not be any obstacles. And so I applied to a different school, actually, instead of this school. Even though I had been going back and forth with them, I was just like, I found another school. And it seemed like I would get done in that school a lot quicker. So I went to apply and it cost more. They wanted so much different things. I ended up wasting about $300 for that school. I did get accepted and all of that, but it wasn't for me and it just didn't feel right. So I was just like, you know what? I'll just take that L and keep moving. And so I went back and I applied to the school. I emailed the school that I'm at now, and I was just like, you know what, I am interested in the OTA program. Could you tell me what I need to do to move forward? And they emailed me and told me that I might have missed the date and, all of that. So I was just like, all right, well, I could just try again next year. So that being said, like I said, I prayed on it. I prayed on it one more time and was like, I'm lost right now. Tell me what to do. If this is for me, let the doors open. And I just kept saying that. And so I want to say 2 days later, I got an email telling me to go ahead and apply. So I went to go apply. And then there was an application fee. And so right as I'm applying, I get an email with a code to waive the application fee. So I was like, oh, okay, that sounds good. So I sent the application in and whatever. And I'm looking at the dates and I'm like, I definitely missed the date. And so um, at that point, they had started interviews, I believe. I think I had missed the date or I was cutting it really close. It was something. And I was just like, oh, whatever it was, I was discouraged. And I was just like, this is not going to happen for me. So then I get an email saying that I was accepted and they want to move forward, blah, blah, all of that. And that I needed to be prepared for the interview, that it was coming soon. And so I get the email with the date for the interview. Come to find out, I think it was the last day of interviews. So went in, did my interview, and I felt like I did horribly. But actually, I guess I did good. I don't know. Or maybe they just liked me. But I felt like I did so bad in that interview just because, like, the questions were questions you really had to think about. And, sometimes you don't really think about it. Or, like, you feel like your answers are kind of lame. So after the interview, I get an email. I think it was the same day or maybe the very next day. I get an email saying that I needed to go ahead and reserve my spot. And so I did that, did orientation, and started class. And within a month of classes, no, not even. We got married in August. Classes started September. Yeah. So not even a month of classes, I found out I was pregnant. So it was like that first month of classes, I found out I was pregnant, and I kept it a secret for a little while, just because we wanted to make sure that, everything was okay on our end. In the very beginning, we kind of had a scare. So we just wanted to make sure everything was good. And then I let my teacher know. I was like, hey, I'm pregnant and I don't know what to do to move forward. They were like, you know what? You're fine. We got you. So I ended up being there for the first 2 semesters. Then I had my son, and haven't really shared the details of my delivery, but we had a traumatic birth, and I ended up having to get emergency C-section and all these things, and we were in the hospital. My son was in the hospital for almost 2 months, a little over a month, and then I was in the hospital for almost 3 weeks. So when that happened, it literally happened right at the beginning of the next semester. So there was no way I would be there because I was in the hospital. They had no idea when I was going to go home. And at that point, they had no idea if or when my son, like, if we were going to be able to take him home, if he was going, like, basically he was just living day by day. So I couldn't start. So they were like, you know what, you can come back next year. So I came back the next year in May and ended up, my whole fear the entire year that I was off was me getting pregnant. And I was doing everything I could to make sure I didn't get pregnant, except for birth control, just because I didn't want to do birth control while I was breastfeeding. And the plan was to breastfeed my son for a year. So we made it to that year mark, and I was just like, yes, I'm going to start back to school. I breastfed for a year. Like, I was feeling great. And I think in the happiness of that all, I kind of just stopped. I stopped thinking about having another kid. And, they say when you stop thinking about it, it happens. And so I want to say May. We found out April that I was pregnant because, I took a test. And then classes started in May. And I ended up sharing the information June or July. I think it was July. I shared it. And right after that, I did my gender reveal. And that video, I think, is actually up. But, yeah, so I ended up being pregnant at the beginning of that as well. And I was there for 2 semesters. And then I had the girls. And I had the girls right during our break. So it worked out perfectly that I was able to have the girls during our Thanksgiving break, come back, do final exams, and then we were on Christmas break for 3 weeks, and I was able to just return that following semester. I had enough help at home, and the girls were healthy. So I was just like, you know what? I do not want to wait another year. Like, I just need to get this done right away. And so that's what happened. I ended up going right back. And now here I am in last semester of classes. And uh-oh, mamas, where you going? Her sister's right next to her. And they're like looking at each other. But I ended up making it this far and almost completing it. So I just say all of that to say, you know, you never know what your plan's going to be. You never know what you're going to do, the route you're going to take. You just kind of got to stay focused and trust in God's plan, because who would have thought that who would have thought that I would have had 3 kids right now? Like, I had no intentions of having kids until I was done with school and I was working. And, you know, basically, you know what they say, when you plan, God laughs. So this is the plan for us. I wouldn't change it for the world. I'm so happy to be a mom. I feel like this is my place. I found my people. I love being a mommy, and that's why I kind of want to share my journey through school as a mom, and also like all the information, all the things that I've learned as being a mom. This is kind of still like first time mom for me, because my son's only 1. So now he's 2. He's turning 2 in a few months. But it's like, you know, I'm still learning with him. He hasn't been here that long, and in the course of learning, you know, how to take care of a little boy, I ended up with 2 girls. So this is fun too. Now I'm learning how to take care of 2 babies at the same time. Everything I did with him is like times 2. But I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I will see you again in another video. I do have some school related videos, like I said, coming for you guys. I have some mommy-ish videos for you guys. And whatever else comes to my mind, I'll share with you guys. And that's it. Say bye-bye. Bye-bye.